Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at MATIC again. We've had a move down with the rest of the market and we're going to be investigating whether we think that this is going to continue to sell off or do we expect a bounce to the upside. These are the questions we're going to answer shortly, but first before we jump into that, I'd like to say thank you for watching the video. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave us some feedback down below in the comment section, whether that's coin requests or just anything you'd like to see in the video or for us to change, just leave it down there and we'll take it all on board. Okay, so basically we were looking at a couple of options here. Initially we were looking at the potential for a bullish move to the upside, but because we've moved down past this 80 cent 42 range, basically that has invalidated any further extension off of this move here. So what we are now looking for is the potential that basically we have a move starting to the downside. So it is possible that this B wave has completed here. The structure up here is a bit strange though, so it does leave it open to a bit of interpretation for the time being. But what we can see is if we focus in on this move to the right hand side here, what we can see is we're having this what looks like a five wave move here. It's reacting well, and basically, there's two ways of counting this. You can either count this all as a 1 into this zone here, and then we have a 3, 4, and a 5 that we're looking for fifth wave to the downside. So if this is the case, basically, if I just throw my fib onto this high point here and down into this low, just eyeball that in there, we can see we've come up here and we've hit this 0.382, and we've started to move away now. It is possible that we could start to drop down from this zone, although it is also possible that perhaps we have a little bit more to go here, and we might look to target out this 50% area at this 0.83646 zone. If that is the case, basically, we would be looking for another leg to the upside here, and maybe we would get this as an A, B, C to the downside, maybe form a double bottom and then get a push back up in one final wave towards this 50% zone. If I throw the fib onto this low point here, go up to this high point, we can see that a 1-to-1 would take us to this 83.23 area. So it is possible that we still have another little push to the upside here, that ultimately I do see us breaking down, depending on whether we have finished here and we drop down, or we finish here and we drop down a bit later. Currently, the target area for this would sort of be between the 7708 to this 7544 region. That would basically be the area we'd be looking to target out with this fifth wave. So now, like I was saying, there's a couple of ways of looking at this. If I just quickly switch this over to this extension within this, it is also possible to count this as a 1-2-1-2 situation where we have this as a 1, 2, this is another 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. The difference with this is we would be expecting an additional fourth wave. And basically, the only way we can really tell with this is how we react from these lows. If we have this fifth wave to the downside, and then we start to form a bigger move back to the upside and potentially look to target, if I just draw this on here for 1 second, if we look to target perhaps further up into this move to this 50% to the 786, then it would pretty much it wouldn't invalidate it as such, but it would become a very unlikely that if we start to push up more towards the 618, 786, it becomes very unlikely this is a fourth wave then because it starts to become too big. So that would be one way that we can look at this move. If however we do only retrace up to this 82.70 area to perhaps make a double top here and then look for progression to the downside, then we know that this is what's playing out. So that is what I'm looking out for currently within this move to the downside. Now there is, if I just put back on this one here, whether we finish here or slightly lower, the problem then comes with what is this bit in the middle. So ideally this would end here, but then we have what looks like an AB or a WXY rather to the downside, and then this ABC up. So that would then be basically an A, a B, and a C wave. So I was initially looking at this as the C potentially ending here, and then perhaps what we had is a diagonal within this shape, an expanding diagonal, and basically this would then be looking at something like this. The problem with this is it does fit, the subwaves fit, but this last leg here is not longer than the middle. So I'm keeping an eye on it, but I'm not putting a lot of trust into it yet because of the fact that this last leg is shorter. We can't take it from further back here because this high comes up higher. So this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if it is a diagonal, followed by this wave 2 to the upside. If that is the case, then what that would mean is that effectively we have an additional leg to the downside here. So whether we finish here or we finish slightly lower down, depending on which one of these options play out, we could actually still have that additional fourth and fifth wave to the downside. So it's one of those things we're going to have to monitor as the moves progress. But basically, what we would want to see, but a move back above this point, really over here, this 87 cent region would invalidate the fact of having this additional leg to the downside. The other thing that I am being aware of, just being cautious of, is that perhaps we have, instead of this being a diagonal, maybe this does end into this high point here like we had it originally, and what we have is actually an a B, and then we're forming a C wave now to the downside. And with this move, basically what this would be, this would just be a flat correction. And if I just throw this onto this low point here, up into this high point, we can see that perhaps if we drop down for this for this additional fifth wave here, this 2.618 might be an area of interest. If this does move back to the upside from this point, then we could also be still looking to target out this zone. And what this would be is that we would actually still be within this B wave. And if I explain this to you now, basically what we would be looking at, if I delete this and I delete this move here would be an A, this would be a B, and then we'd be looking for evidence of a five-wave move to the upside. This is not confirmed yet, and we need to bear in mind that there is always potential that we could carry on extending to the downside here. So until we start to break back above some of these zones, like this 87 cent, and then alternatively the top of this move here at 94.19, I am going to carry on following that the trend is to the downside. It's just that this move here doesn't make a lot of sense with these waves, the way they're formed. We can't have a triangle like this because effectively you have the breaking of the lows, and even as an expanding triangle, we can't look at it as expanding triangle because this move doesn't move up high enough. It would have to take this high point. So the only way we can look at it is that this is either an A, B, and a C, or a diagonal, and then we're getting a 1, 2, and then we're looking for that drop again, and then all of this is in the third wave. So we need to keep an eye out on these zones, but if we start to get impulsive structure off these lows, I still wouldn't get that excited because, like I said, it could just be a B wave, and then effectively, if I just throw this move onto here, up into this high point, and then down into that zone, we could then be looking to potentially target out between this 1382 to this 1618 zone. And that's a typical area for these if it's going to become expanding. If it's going to become a running flat, effectively this 0.618 at 86.64 would be a potential target zone, and potentially this 121 area. That wouldn't break back above this high point, and basically would just make it a running flat and would be looking for continuation. So there is some upside potential here, though I'm not putting a lot of faith into it because until we manage to break back above that zone that we talked about earlier, if I just remove some of this noise here now. So like I said, until we break back above the zone of, so if this five wave move plays out, and actually let me just make sure I've got this in the right place. I'm sure it is. So yeah, it's within the zone. If it's going to be an expanding flat, it should break this low. But we could come and stop just before it at the 77.15 to the 76. Sorry, anywhere between the 77.15 to the 7555. That's a typical zone that we could look to target out. So, you know, if we move into this zone and basically can't manage to break back above this 786 zone, or actually it would be the top, but the common area for a rejection zone would be the 786 to this zero point 0.5. A move back into there and facing another rejection effectively would be potentially testing these zones of previous support that we've had here, and basically that could look for us to continue to the downside. Breaking this low could effectively trigger more sell-off though, so we need to be aware that if that does happen, maybe we start to sell off more extremely. So, we just need to bear in mind that we could have some continuation to the downside. Yeah, those are the current things I'm tracking. It needs a bit more time to develop so we can get a better understanding of which of these moves is playing out. But basically, if we have this move to the downside, I would be aware. I'm just being aware that we could have further extension within this first leg of 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and 5. And then if this does play out, we still need to just be cautious that we don't have another leg and this isn't a diagonal. I don't really want to take it as a diagonal because of the fact that this is not long enough, but it's just something I'm keeping in mind in case we do get basically an additional wave here. So it is possible that we could see an additional fourth and fifth here. Though, like I said, because of the structure, because of the fact this wave isn't long enough, I'm not putting a lot of confidence into it, but it is something that we're monitoring. If so that's basically what we got for the moment. We need a bit more time for the market to show us how it reacts within these zones. If we bounce up, get rejected again, then it's possible that either this teal wave is in play, or alternatively we're looking at this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 from these high points with a diagonal to start. So that's what we'll be looking for. Effectively, until we break back above this high point here, though, at 9419, this could all just continue to extend to the downside. So we just need to bear that in mind. Okay, invalidation of this yellow fifth wave that we got marked out here would basically come by crossing back above this 8721 region. A move back above that would invalidate this fifth wave move and would have to reevaluate this count. Okay, so that's all I've got for today on MATIC, and I hope that you found this video useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave us some feedback in the comment section below. Also in the description, you will find a link to BYBIT. This is the exchange we like to use. If you haven't got a BYBIT account already, why not sign up with the affiliate link? It helps support the channel and the team, and we really appreciate it. Also, in the description is the Discord link. Why not jump down into the Discord and come have a chat with us? We can just have a chat about whatever you want to talk about. Whatever, if you want to talk about trading, whatever it is, jump into the general chat area, and we'll have a little chat. Okay, so with all that said and done, I hope everyone has a great day, and until we see each other in the next video, keep safe out there, everybody.